second matchup of the night. It's Playday 4, baby. Bleed, can they keep their undefeated streak? We'll have to wait and see. Will that wolf have a little bit of bite left in him? Xenox does enjoy.
Come on, guys, to the strip club.
I feel like I've loaded into the main menu of like a 90s rally game. It has that retro vibe about it.
Oh, it's
I don't know if it sets the stage particularly well for this matchup though. It's quite an upbeat and happy song, and if you're a Direwolves fan, there may not be a lot to be happy about after 30 minutes. But we'll wait and see. I'm happy to be proven wrong, but a 95% fan vote in favor of Bleed, I also agree with. This is a game in which I'm expecting them to be quite dominant.
Shockingly enough, no shield ban. Hoven looks absolutely relaxed, by the way, during this operator ban phase. Turt locked in, as he knows he needs to be. He's not going to have Kali and Montaigne pushing his way, surely, this time around, provided Direwolves have done their homework.
He did get fed a bit last night, but he also didn't make big mistakes in the power positions that he had to hold.
That is true. That is true.
We'll see if he gets tested tonight a bit more.
What are your thoughts on my comments regarding Harambe? Too harsh?
Unexpected. I don't know if he's quite due for the retirement home just yet, but he needs to sort out his confidence issues.
Well, he was coached though last stage.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, I think I would agree. I wasn't expecting you to say it, but I do agree.
Well, I think that realistically, how often do you see success when a player becomes a coach, then goes back to playing? Not often. Every now and then, sure, and certainly at the higher level. But in APAC, at least, it's certainly more of a rarity to find success in that approach. And I think Harambe is the kind of player where you want more so on the sidelines. And I think this is a roster that, you know, Bin can continue to find improvement, and you bring in some other young talent. There's enough there. I'm still a big fan of the likes of Pika and Souffle. I think they've certainly got the talent within them that they could push to the higher echelons within Asia. But in terms of this particular matchup, and this is where it's a little bit kind of sad in my mind when you kind of look at Direwolves. They're 2-1 on the stage thus far. As an organization, I like Direwolves. They've been around a long time, APAC South Days, etc. And yet, regardless of all that, it doesn't really feel like they've got any kind of chance here against Bleed. They lost 7-1 on opening day, and then all of the beaten is a Sib and Rifle. Hardly hallmark teams in terms of top 2, top 4 really even. So a massive test here. No one believes in them. Can they prove everyone wrong? That has to be their mindset coming into this game. Attacking in the first half, Bleed on the defense. So you imagine they'll play that roam game, immediately reaps under a little bit of pressure throughout Logistic, and I like the pinch with the hatch play as well. Harambe, though, on the Montang, loses out to Hoven. Through the hatch, Seal was able to get a huge kill onto Reeks. Shuts him down, the Legion no more. No goo mines to generate throughout the round, and that's a pretty decent clear. Didn't quite get to see how Harambe died, though, entering on the Montang.
Yeah, quite an aggro roam there from Reeves. He had a rotate comp, but I think he was pretty content to play for his life. Unfortunately, unable to find that pick up through Logi Hatch. Leader inside a stock there could be a threat. If he goes unchecked, Hatch opened up for the rotation. Yet to be droned, I think, by Direwolves, who are now transitioning control in towards first floor. So we'll see how they deal with this. Leader could be on for a pretty free kill here. We'll see. Patient at the moment, just buying his time. Halfway point of the round, freebie comes, and the freebie is taken.
Yeah, I mean, some good and some bad, I think, really, from the start of this opening round. Pika applying some pressure from Oil Pit. Vulcan Canister will burn into blue in 60 seconds. Still some decent time. Could get a pinch. So an Oil Pit secret push towards blue. Bin outside in construction, I think, looking to open up dirt. So dirt and blue will be the approach for the 3-man Direwolf. Too much to clear on site. Silas actually made his way back over towards kitchen. Still the solo push now into blue from Pika, despite the fact that they could have gone with a secret push. He goes straight into sight. Forget about the BPC. Mentalist went for the swing, got traded though by Turdstar. Switched on. Wasn't going to allow him to just roam for free. Bin slow into dirt. Seal now dead inside. I mean, it's just disjointed attack after attack from Direwolves. No one playing off each other, and there's no team synergy. It's solo push after solo push. Bin left to his own devices into side of dirt, and Turd is just smelling blood in the water at that point. He's like, I need the KD, I need the EPS. Hunts him down. We'll finish him off. Smiles from Mentalist at a good start from Bleed.
Yeah, not particularly poor though from Direwolves. They committed pretty well to the roam clear. Had the 1-for-1 trade early on. Reaps dealt with. Leader, the big difference maker inside of stock, got an absolute free kill though, and then Pika unchecked through blue. No one was playing up close. Bit of an interesting setup. Sometimes we see the ball reinforced and, you know, play up close and dummies instead of footholes. Direwolves, unfortunately, you know, as much as they tried to exploit that, ultimately the remaining anchors on site probably do opted to play the back line, were able to stand up and do a good job in closing out that round. So credit to them. Lead now go over towards Jim's bedroom, round 2. See if Direwolves elect to go maybe a little bit more direct, or if they again intend to map clear. Repick off of the Monty onto Maverick, so Jacuzzi can be dealt with. Look onto IQ. I probably anticipated a little bit more Nook play post-patch. For those unaware, the Nook ability now in the drains while moving and doing other movement actions, so you can effectively activate the gadget, stand still, and wait for the rest of the team to flush out defenders on rotations. And sort of sit unmarked. We haven't really seen it be leaned into massively yet.
So Jim Bedroom, second round. Not the start to the stage that Bin and Harambe would like. Maybe an opportunity in this match to find some performance. This will be an easy Jacuzzi to get opened up. No pressure, no presence. As Mentalist is playing the Bandit, doesn't elect to defend the wall. We have already seen actually some issues opening up Jacuzzi from a couple of teams in Asia throughout the stage thus far. For some reason, it really shouldn't be really all that difficult to open up. Now we turn our attention over towards CCTV for Direwolves. Easy does it for Harambe with the secondary hard breach. Turdstar actually will keep himself locked in towards rafters in garage. On the Azamian, looks to be a nuisance and buy some time. Reap stop red. Knows there's maybe one down below. Pika in stock. Here's for the lurk. Oh!
What?
I don't know exactly where Pika was going, but he looked extremely confident that there was no one first floor. There was no one around bar and stage. Leader just pops out through the rotate hole, gets a free kill. Everyone else decides to just send it into sight. Mentalist walks into the spraying seal. Bin, good little entry. A bit of gym control, but the kit falls as his body does as well. It hits the floor, and Turd gets another kill. All too easy for Bleed.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm a bit confused. I don't know where Pika was going, what his intention was, what information he had to commit to that play, and how that was even going to link into the rest of the attack. I really don't know. I'm not sure if he was trying to send it over towards main stairs and make a play, if there's some like third opportunity from down below to util, but again, it's another free kill on the roam / lurk from Leader. Completely uncontested. I presume undroned as well. Rest of Direwolves then trying to desperately send it inside through windows, etc. But Bleed again, hold the back line, hold angles. Don't feed too many 1 versus 1 in the end, lean heavily into man advantage that they already had, and get another confident closeout. So not the best starts here for Direwolves. And it's trying to get the early impression in this map that it could be quite one-sided.
Doesn't take that many rounds though for this to become competitive. You win tertiary site twice and could be enough.
10 seconds left.
Well, Hoven has been having an exceptional stage so far. I think he had like a 127 EPS or something in the pre-match graphic, and I think that's just going to continue to rise with the way that he has been playing. You could regard him at the moment as the best player on the team, well above Reaps, who typically is regarded as that sort of player. But Hoven has continued, say, over the last year to just improve and has certainly got a lot of respect to his name now. You know, it's not just the Reaps show when it comes to Bleed. They're well coached, well drilled. Hoven has continued to improve. Leader's acquisition. And it does kind of feel like that fifth missing piece could be, you know, Turd finding that improvement, or potentially, as Julia said, finding someone else.
So Speaker again on alert, this time through first floor. With a puzzling play in the previous round, but this time he'll be trying to find some value from down below. Leader is in basement. There's actually every world in which they encounter one another again. It's been a solid stage so far from Leader. Again, comes across with a lot of experience, and even in the words of Julia, they've been really impressed with what he's been able to provide for the team. I think he's probably going to try and play Oil Pit here, so provide support with a Nitro Cell rip. Hoven, who's actually playing Rafters as opposed to Turd. That's exactly what he does, so Leader playing this map exactly what they did last time. Or very similar, at least.
Turd's lost his life. He wasn't the Rafters player, though. For some reason, Bleed have changed that up from last night. I'm not exactly sure why. Felt like actually Turd played that position really well yesterday. Remember, it should be switched on if they've done their homework, though. That Leader does like to play that Oil Pit position with a Nitro Cell in hand. So no more Kiba barriers. Although with him not having played that position, always going to be a bit more tricky to get them anyway. Yellow pink information here. Bot Garage and Harambe keeps losing some damage, losing some health due to that damage. That was the Nitro Cell from Leader. Hoven does get the kill onto Seal. They were aware of his position. He has dropped down though from Rafters. 45 seconds, sure, not a lot of time. Flames stopping the push through the doorway. Reaps easy kill onto Pika. Trying to make his way into Con. CCTV hold down for Reaps, successful, not a lot of time. They've really struggled in getting this garage controlling, kind of like yesterday with Fury, the Montagne just seemingly unable to get the presence inside of garage that is required to win the round. Yes, Harambe does eventually get the kill onto Hoven, but there's not a lot of time remaining. Chasing ghosts up red stairs is Souffle. Doesn't even go through lounge. They don't even have the diffuser, cuz as we know, this round is over.
10 seconds left.
Yeah, and Echo there for Denial, even if they were in a position to plant. Boyo Canister makes things tough. Souffle with the TK and Reaps for the final kill. Perfect first rotation from Bleed. And this is, again, feeling like a bit of a no contest.
I hope James hasn't gone too far. He does like to walk off.
Yeah, he's probably wandered off to walk the dog, so hopefully he hasn't gone too far.
Could be a quick one. Yeah, I mean, it's not often that we are correct, guys, in our assumption of a match, but we did feel like there was a bit of a gulf between these two teams, and it's kind of playing out in that way. Again, just the inability for the Montagne to actually get into garage. Two teams now that have struggled against Bleed in this regard. When it was Fury yesterday, they had the Kali playing behind it. They struggled. This case, well, in this case, the Montagne didn't really have anyone playing behind him anyway, but still just couldn't get in through that doorway. Leader a bit of a nuisance inside an Oil Pit. Really wasn't ultimately the main reason why the Montagne couldn't get through. And intriguing.
Well, I do have positive news.
Okay.
James has not gone and walked his dog.
Is that positive news? He's better do it quickly.
He's having a cup of tea, which does look quite weak. A bit too much milk in it for my liking, and then 2 slices of burnt toast.
Yeah, that is very burnt.
And I think that's peanut butter. Again,
I hope it's peanut butter.
I am allergic to peanuts, so I don't really know what peanut butter really looks like, to be honest, but I'm assuming that's what it is. And James, no, I do not want your toast. It looks burnt. I can see black bits on the bread. It's burnt. Overcooked. How do you like your toast, Jake?
It depends. I feel like if I'm having Nutella or peanut butter or some kind of spread, I like it soft. But if you were to say put eggs on it, like bacon and eggs, and more of a breakfasty bread, yeah, a bit firm. Nice little crunch to it. But it also depends on the bread style, though. Is it just like plain bread, oatmeal? Like, what is it? Like, not oatmeal.
You're secured.
Yeah, like sourdough.
Like a sourdough.
It's like, what is it? Is there some kind of wheat, like oat wheat or something? I don't know, guys. I don't do the
You know what's
shopping.
the worst? When you go to like a cafe and they have sourdough, and you need like a hacksaw to get.
Oh
it.
yeah, no.
Not good.
Like the edges are like just concrete walls, just encapsulating the nice white fluffy bit inside.
That's a very Melbourne complaint. Anyone from Melbourne would know that we're quite pretentious about our cafes.
Yeah. Anyway,
yeah.
second half of the first half, off the back of the timeout from Dire Wolves. We'll see if it does change anything. Cheeky little position here from Reaps. Hoven to play contact and fall down, then they don't expect Reaps to be here. Should work. Little double down play into secret. Don't see this too often, so it depends if they come through the secret window, and then if they do, Reaps could lose his life. He has actually already rotated, so they will not play that. High risk, high reward, but
That's
to
a
bleed,
basement.
it will be 5 on basement.
Which, in some regards, may actually aid Divers here. They don't have to worry about getting caught on the lurk threat. We've already seen that a couple of times. Peak has been struggling on the lurk. This time he could just focus on, nailing a particular entry point. They also have the Ying in play as well, so Candles are going to be great. They do have to be mindful of Reaps, though. He is playing the Warden, so they have direct counter play available. Goyo also up, and so that means that Divers will need to be mindful of timing, so they can be correctly chipping away at that utility, as I almost choked to death.
Don't do that.
I'll try not to.
We've already had
Not
to
at the
replace
moment.
one caster in the stack. We don't want to do that again. Please don't.
You'd be out of a job if you lost me. You'd be in a real strife.
Well, if James can cast with the bald guy with the beard, I'm sure there's another bald guy with a beard hanging around that might want to work with me.
Maybe you could get Fabian.
Nah, he's too entrenched in the Talon workshop. Don't think
I
I'd be
wonder
able
how
to
their
get him
game's
away.
going tonight. I think they're over on the main channel.
They are
Interested in
actually.
Korea.
Yeah, they are on the main channel. You shouldn't really be watching it though over Asia, let's be honest. They are actually losing to Blossom right now.
Oh, maybe you could get Fabian then.
Entry into blue, unsuccessful for Pika and Bin Bin, both losing their lives in different positions. Seal will die bot main. This is about to be flawless. Yeah, I mean, a pretty lackluster round from Direwolves, right? When Bleed played 5 on site, we mentioned it like all of a minute and a half ago. And it is indeed going to be essentially flawless. The Souffle does stay alive, theoretically. The game doesn't know that it's flawless, but we know it is. Yeah, 5-stack basement. Direwolves couldn't break it down, couldn't get any kills, couldn't clear out positions, certainly couldn't formulate a plan of attack. And it is 4-zip. Speedrun territory in our opening 2 games tonight for Asia League Play Day 4. And I don't even think this enters the realm of disappointing for Direwolves because the expectation really wasn't there for them in this match. Bleed are a very cutthroat team. I've said it before, but yeah, they don't muck around. I feel like Bleed's just the kind of team that just typically, like, if they're struggling, it's because the other team's playing well. They're not struggling because they get egotistical. If they get 6-0 up, they might play around where they're a bit silly, but that's about it. Like, the first 4 or 5 rounds, guys, they don't really mess around too much.
No, as time has gone on, I think I've noted this before, maybe this stage or end of last stage. As time has gone on, the Bleed roster has done a much better job at minimizing trolling in games. I mean, that's just the least technical way to put it. They really ensure that one-sided matches are pretty well locked up. I mean, maybe the asterisk on that would have been the SIP result last week, which ended in a win by a forfeit. I don't know if again they're really trolling in that game though. They were probably just outmatching a few of those rounds and keeping it competitive. But certainly here tonight, 4 rounds, already burning the tactical time out of their opposition. I was using it in the last available opportunity. Yeah, simply outclassing them at the moment. Not only is their roam game being effective in catching lurk, but last round they kept it super simple, bunkered down side as Army Goyo kept it to the basics. Again, another confident win. So it's difficult to find win conditions for Direwolves in this particular match now. And if they're to keep the match alive the next 2 rounds, we need to see some more promising siege from them, because unfortunately they're lagging behind by quite a bit.
Breaching sequence activated.
What are you giggling about?
Just how wonderful James
Attackers dropped the diffuser.
didn't like the call I made earlier about the fact that Nick had a beard. Well, he's not necessarily wrong, especially in comparison to the beard, the ever luscious beard, but
Attackers recovered.
might I add to Robert J. Monday, legal name, full legal name, just about. Wow, 90 seconds. These rounds from Direwolves have been just incredibly slow. By the way, Souffle into strip club. Thought I'd just touch on that one.
I'm ready for you bastards.
There he is, over there, lurking on a drone right now.
Strange position to play. I don't know if Direwolves have sort of just said, let's throw caution to the wind and strats to the wind, and let's just like all lurk in positions to see if we just find something. That might genuinely have been the call, and it's just not going to work.
Oh, go Pika, straight up in towards top red. A little pre-bullet, and the Clash looking the right way. That's going to shut down any potential of shooting. Mentalist in the back over towards the deployable shield. Does get the kill on to Reaps. A little bit late here on the push from Mentalist. Leader did find a kill onto Harambe. Seal will fall. You're right. Pika very low and is dead. Surely. 3 HP.
Come on,
Mentalist.
finish him.
Finish him off. And there's like Mortal Kombat. Finish him. Does he know he's on 3 HP? He's got no idea. Oh my goodness. Well, 5-0. Wrap it up. Unless Bin Bin does something very special. This is where you can put something on a montage and...
the APOG locked his vision.
Yeah. Funny old round though with the Clash. Mentalist having a little chuckle there on the camera.
I mean, credit to Bleed. They're being professionals about it. They're not trolling. They're throwing a couple of different strats out there, and they're shutting down this kind of game plan from Direwolves that could actually work against a team that's, you know, not clued in and allow solo lurks to become overwhelming, but they're just not. Like, short Reaps gets caught out there, but then immediately the follow-up from the Clash. Good crossover towards Breach. Just pretty textbook stuff across the board. Bin Bin maybe in a winnable position if he drops the leader here. 1v1 on the Clash. Potentially back mid, but not meant to be. And a perfect half possible here for Bleed. We did just see a perfect half from No Cap in the last game against Rival. We're on Chalet, and that trend may continue here. I don't think we can say that on broadcast.
Oh, absolutely not. No. For context, I messaged Fabian because I was just curious. Struggling against Blossom in Korea, not great. His response was, they've just defaulted to playing Korea. Oh no, he's funny. Yeah, 5-0 here, and Bleed, to their credit, they haven't really put a foot wrong, guys. You know, typically I think when you have these matchups, it's always a case of the higher quality team of the two has to probably make mistakes, be a little bit off, bring back that word egotistical as well, you know, start to peek, be a bit of a, you know, nuisance, try and spawn peek, run out, all of those kind of things. They've done none of it. They've been clean, precise, holding good positions. They don't over peek, they don't get over aggressive, they're not over roaming, they'll fall back to site. It's a little bit defaulty, but it's also very high quality default from Bleed. Another opening kill, Souffle dead. The Montang from Harambe has been completely ineffective, and actually, well, it's 2 teams in a row now. There's something to it over the course of this week where shield play against Bleed has just been null and void. Like, I don't know if it's something that Bleed is doing or the people playing the shields, but we've seen it now from 2 different teams, 2 different players, just not have any impact, especially in this meta.
Stay close to me.
Yeah. Well, it is Turd on this raft position to face off against the shield once more. See if once again he's able to find value, but there needs to be follow-up pressure here from the rest of the attack, and unfortunately it's not coming through. Harambe falls. So too will peek up down below, and the match unraveling before their eyes, still with a full belt of util. So again, highlighting that the synchronization from this attack just isn't there.
Yeah.
And Bleed able to capitalize upon that.
It's a strange map choice as well. Looking back, you go to the semi-final in stage 1, Bleed versus Direwolves, 7-0 in Skyscraper, 7-1 in Clubhouse. And with what we're getting here as well, entering 7-0 territory or thereabouts, to me, defines the fact that Direwolves throughout the off-season have unfortunately not been able to close that gap. The moves and the changes that they've made in terms of Harambe, Bin haven't done, enough. Clearly, when you lose someone like Joe Gore, that is a huge downgrade in itself. And Fearlux never felt like he was someone that probably performed all that well. So you kind of got this core of Pika, Souffle, Seal as a trio. Can you find two others to really, play with that core? And even then, there's question marks with that core as well. Don't get it twisted. This is a really bad team performance across the board for Direwolves right now. This is everyone. This is not just Bin and Harambe. Sure, they haven't played well either, but Pika, Souffle, 2-6, 2-5 guys. Like, it's not just the two other guys. Unfortunately for Direwolves, as a roster and as a team, you can make these slight little tweaks, but maybe, unfortunately, there's just more to it than one or two players. Maybe it's some of these core players as well that really need to kind of look inward and see if there's actually improvements that they can make.
Well, for Bleed then, can they complete the perfect match? Lock in a 7-0 win? Which will be first, the one and only 7-0 for the stage thus far. I think James said we had 3 in the previous stage.
Yeah.
No Cap just fell short in the prior match with the 7-1 dub. Attacking into basements, so easier said than done. Early Nitro from Seal, Leader able to dodge. Critically can stay alive, and those line scans up for the remainder of the round. A lot of droning being done currently by Bleed. 4 players on drones simultaneously, so getting a lot of information. Maybe trying to cap somebody off site. Currently Bin the objective as Harambe falls back. But Divers double down, find 2 picks. It's pretty clean.
Yeah, and this might be a case where I think, 7-0s can be so difficult because of the fact that now Direwolves go on defense. They play basement. It's why you see a lot of like 7-1s and 7-2s. Good double kill. Soft breach somewhat dealt with, especially with Mental so towards dirt. Right, so less pressure up above, kitchen, hallway. I've been wanting to play bot main. Of course, Dockerby changes, guys, so electric bombs generate throughout the round. You start with none, and 45 seconds in, you get your first one, and second 45 seconds later. I don't hate it. I think it's actually one of the better ways to balance an operator, right? In terms of like, okay, we think it's too strong in this area, which is the early portion of the round. How is Hover not dead here? You gotta win that. That's bad. Didn't even have his gun up. It's also going to be a hack as well. Cameras, 60 seconds, bring it back to a 4v3, bit of secret control in towards blue. Suddenly, the round is now a little bit more alive here for Bleed.
Yeah, especially with that Valk on the board as well. Could be some information fed BBCs as well. I can see them flicking. Reeves has one in article that he's watching at the moment, so don't count Bleed out from potentially being able to salvage this round with that information.
Well, Turd has been performing a lot better this week. He could really make a mark here. Down a player, 3v4, 25 seconds. Does he peek the hard right angle? He does. Souffle. Oh, the second from Turd is on point. The player in blue, Harambe, unable to trade. He made the right move. You lose one in church. You go for the trade as the blue player, but nevertheless, Turd's just a bit better. Holvin will have to go for the kitchen drop, waiting for the flames to extinguish. Still playing in dirt coming out. That will be Mentalist. Two inside a church for Direwolves. No one inside of Arsenal right now. Turd and Mentalist to cover. Turd finds 3. Can't get the 4th, but it does not matter. Mentalist is there to clean it up. An incredible entry from Turd into sight. Bleed win it out. 7-0, baby. The first one for the stage.
Oh, GG Bleed. He doesn't really get much better than that. Very solid performance. They go back-to-back on club in the same week. Really didn't have to change up all too much. A couple of different things here or there to counteract what Direwolves were doing on the lurk in the first half, and then a clean comeback in the second half. That Dockerby call making a big difference. And when Bleed have that information and the confidence is flowing, the shots are landing, they're such a difficult team to take down, Rob.
Yeah, it's a little tough. That's really not what we were hoping for from Direwolves at all. We hoped that maybe we would have been gifted something. Oh God, I just can't do it, Michael. I just cannot do it.
What does it say above me, Rob?
It, like, honestly, at this point, I no.
Yeah. Well,
He's done it again.
for what it's worth, the two geniuses and Manic is simply because, guys, this man over here did coin flip Direwolves. I said coin flip, Rob. It was a coin
Thank
flip.
you. I appreciate that. I needed that one. It's 100% a coin flip.
Disappointing though, right? Because like 7-0
100%.
is always disappointing regardless of a result. But when you're a Direwolves roster that wants to try and be in that top 4 conversation and you're just that far off, and it's not the first time I mentioned the results during the game, Rob, but like 7-1, 7-0 in the semi-final to then come back this stage throughout the entire break, and it's then 7-0 again, despite a couple of roster moves. And yeah, I know I was maybe somewhat harsh to the likes of Harambe and potentially even Bin Bin. I want to make sure it's very clear it's the whole roster in that performance. It is the whole team across the board. Seal, Souffle, Pika included, along with the other two. That was just quite poor. At no point in that game did I feel like they were going to win around until the last one, and even then, Turd was just better. He hit some really good shots. Thought he played that game well, and I think, Guz, you said it earlier, it's like, for Turd, it was just this week all about not making mistakes, and he didn't make any mistakes. He had a very solid week.
And I guess it also goes against the storyline, right? And there's like quote unquote one-sided games or expected wins. I was running with the storyline in the first week that he doesn't really need to show up. He doesn't really have to do a whole lot because the rest of the team's doing the job for him. He was able to buck that trend today, last round. I mean, a great example where they have really had to fight their way back in that particular instance, get that attack across the line for the 7-0. What does he do? Marches forward, gets the 2K, as the plank goes down, gets a third, and pretty much wins the round for his team. So it's good to see Turd, hit his stride, find some form, and that's probably the greatest storyline for this team is just gradually chipping away, getting slightly better, and not peaking too early, because at the end of the day, at this point in time, they've pretty much can say that they're in the top 6 at this point. I'd say it would be pretty crazy for them to get knocked out at this particular point in time. So it's about really just building into playoffs.
Yeah, just like a continuous back-to-back performance here for Bleed. I mean, this is the only question mark we've had at all throughout this stage was the Hasib game, and obviously we know how that one finished out, unfortunately. But I genuinely think from start to finish, what's really scary about Bleed right now, Xenox, maybe you'll agree, maybe you'll disagree, but sure, the performances are good, they're in the server, they're looking solid, but their mindset is just on another level. Like, for Julio to come in, right, you are the top team in your region. You have not missed out on an international event in 4 events. They have been to everything in the last 12 months, and they've performed decently at these events. But then for Julio to come in and go, oh yeah, look, we dropped Turd, but then we picked him back up, and we're giving him another shot, and look, we just hope that he starts playing better. Oh yeah, and also like international performances, yeah, if we make it this stage, good. If not, then we just reset. Like, it's probably the healthiest mindset of any team I've ever heard of.
Yeah, I think the big thing should always be, in the instance when it comes to Turd, that it's all open and not this behind your back kind of nonsense, which, I mean, from my understanding, when it comes to the decisions made around, his position on the team, a lot of it has been open communication multiple times, in fact. And I think that's actually a really good way that they've been able to go about it. And again, I've mentioned it multiple times. They have this ruthlessness when it comes to Asia, get the job down, beat down on these guys. We know we're better than them. Let's just get to where we know we belong, and that's at the international level.
Yep. Well, let's actually hear from Mentalist for the very first time this stage. We've heard from leader, we've heard from the coach, and now we get to hear from the big man himself. Mentalist, obviously a really solid start for the campaign for stage 2. One thing I want to ask, look, a 7-0 is a 7-0. I don't really know how much I'm going to go in on that. Maybe these boys will ask something, but I just want to know, like, from the outside, this probably looks like the most relaxed team at a tier 1 level right now. Would you agree with that sentiment?
Yeah, in a way. We know there's nothing really on the line for us when it comes to actual league matches. All that matters is the LCQ, so we are pretty relaxed when it comes to that. But when it comes to practice and actually playing, we're as serious as it can be, you know? We're trying our hardest to improve every day, and I think that at the end of the day, that's all that matters for us.
I suppose following on from that and, talking improvement, as it always is the case in APAC, very difficult to improve with, scrim quality and conditions, etc. Even the officials now to an extent as well. What are you guys trying to improve on? How do you actually go about doing that? You obviously have Julio at the helm now, so it doesn't really get much better than that in Asia.
Yeah. There's a lot to improve on. There's always a lot. Siege is all about information, and communicating that information to the team, and then make decisions based on that. And that is an everlasting process. Like, you never be too good at that. And for us, I think my main goal on attack is just to teach my players to spot this critical information and people to convey them to me, to leader, to the decision makers, all make decisions by themselves to be able to play against our opponent and play against them in the best way possible. And I think that's my focus as the IGL, as the team captain, and my way of seeing and playing the game.
Yeah, somewhat maybe a bit of a follow-on to that. Over the last 2 play days, so yesterday, today, very much noticing that you guys have a really good way in dealing against shield operators. You don't ban them, you just play against them in a meta where they're quite prevalent, they're quite strong. Do you put the work in behind the scenes? Is it just something that you guys are just naturally good at, or is it just a case of 2 games, small subsample? Because the 2 Montang players that we saw yesterday and now today, they just couldn't even enter the building. You guys were able to just keep them at bay. So if you could maybe, in a meta where they're quite strong, especially with the blitz as well, talk us through, your mindset and philosophy against those shield ops.
So shield op are undoubtedly strong. They're strong as on their own and also strong with the team. But in a professional environment, you need your team to be playing around the shield. And for the past few play days, the shield players themselves, I'm not going to comment too much on their quality of play because I wasn't the one directly in contact with them, but they played really poorly around the shield. They won't find pressure onto the player directly doing the shield, and they're not doing anything against that's contested that's playing around the shield either. So I think the most important part about playing shields is that you have to have a clear goal in mind, a clear end goal in mind. What do you want the shield to achieve? What do you want the shield to do? If you don't have that idea, you're just playing the shield for the sake of playing it, and none of your teammates know what to do, then it's just going to be a non-factor. You put a Guma in it, you put 2 guys against the shield, you shoot him on the side, and he's done. Even if he's running at you, at high levels of play, you're not going to get away with anything. So yeah.
Jeez, I tell you what, I did not expect that from Jake Xenox and Diddy. I did not expect that much of an insightful question to be answered either. Mentalist, that was great. Look, there's one element to this that I really want to get from your perspective, because obviously the younger players, they kind of would not be looking at it from your perspective. Leader comes into this roster with a fair amount of experience under his belt and seems to have just assimilated unbelievably. How does the dynamic work with, kind of getting someone a bit more mature, a little bit more older in that role joining you?
Of course, it's really nice because previously, before he joined, I was kind of the dad of the team. I honestly is getting pretty tired. I have to constantly remind them, stuff. But with Leader joining, he's able to take care of them with me both in and out of the game. I think it's very nice,
Yeah.
Could get some pressure off me and Julio. And also his experience, of course, give us a lot more options when it comes to strategies as well. I'm be honest, his experience comes from his experience in Europe, and it doesn't really work in APAC because he's assuming the opponent has a certain amount of game understanding and a certain amount of play style. But that's just not the case here. I'm being honest. So what he does is really good when it comes to better opponents, but when it comes to domestic league as well as the LCQ when it really matters, it will be a dogfight. And I think him and I we were able to trade ideas, so we were able to incorporate each other's ideas and communicate really well. At the end of the day, like combining both of our experiences to make the best of the team.
I tell you what, this might actually be one of the best interviews I've ever had. Guz, Xenox, do you have any final questions for him?
No,
Not
good
really.
luck at
I
LCQ,
think
'cause you're
we'll
gonna
see
make
you.
it.
We'll see you again every play day, I'm sure. So
Yeah,
we'll save
tends
some
to
of
happen.
those.
It's a hard to lose next week, right? Anyway, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah, it's good
lose one,
mentality.
it's one of it.
Yeah, and I'd ask you if there's any final things you want to say, Mentalist. You've been talking too long, mate. We're gonna get you off. We'll speak to you next week.
Yeah, I see the white words behind the camera. They're telling me I guess I've been told to shamelessly plug like the Bleed R6 tweet. It's about the new operator, and Lender is cosplaying as the new operator. So take a look. It's pretty cool.
That's great. That content was fantastic. I'm not gonna lie. So beautiful. Thank you very much, Mentalist, and best of luck with the rest of the league. It's almost like I could hear like the producer started playing like the Emmy music in the background. It started getting louder and louder.
Wrap it up, mate.
I mean, to be honest, there's not many players in APAC in general. I'm not even just going to limit it to Asia League that can give you that kind of insight, that kind of knowledge. Like Mentalist has been around this scene for such a long time, right on the back of like a pretty significant change to a lot of operators. Obviously, you know, you're bringing in a completely new operator to get that insight from him. I mean, that's just invaluable. And Xenox, I mean, do we congratulate you on your question? I was waiting. You know what I was waiting for? How does it feel to beat a team 7-0?
Oh, come on, Rob. Have a little bit more faith. No, look, it was, sometimes, clock is right twice a day, as I always like to say, even if it's broken. So, shield operators clearly have been the talk of the town in this particular meta at the moment throughout the stage.
Yep.
And they just seem to not have any issues with them. So I was just, genuinely curious. But
Yeah,
I love the fact that he was like, it's got nothing to do with us. They're just shit.
Yeah.
For lack of a better word.
I don't know what was better, his comments about the shields and the other teams, or the fact that Leader can't lead in this environment because of how bad some of the teams are. But on that note, we'll leave it there, because on the other side of the break, it's two of the best teams in the league as they go head to head.